In this video, we'll be swapping two integers if the first is larger than the second using a swap function using pointers. So what I've currently got is a function prototype for a function that takes a number from the user and returns it. It's just a getNumber function, and it is down at the bottom defined here. Basically takes a number from the user and returns the number. Now the rest is just to be done in this video. We'll start off by declaring two integer variables. Next, we want to get the values, so we'll call number1 and we'll call the getNumber method function that we've created. So this is the message that gets passed as an argument that will then be printed out to the user using cout. I'm going to copy that line and paste it again and just change the variable name and the message. Now we want to display the numbers before the swap, so I'm going to use printf, and we'll just write a message. So before swap, then I would like a new line, then display number1, and here we indicate that we are going to be printing a whole number, another new line, and the second number, number2, a whole number, and a new line. And then after the quotation, we specify what will replace the conversion characters that we've got here. So the first will be replaced by number1 and the second will be replaced by number2. Okay, now let's just compile. We haven't done the swap yet, but let's just see how this looks like. So initially we just got before swap, it looks 4 and 5. Now what we want to do, we only want to swap if the first number is bigger than the second. So what we do is we'll have a condition. If number1 is greater than number2, then over here we will do the swapping. But we haven't got our function yet, so let's write our function prototype. So it's a void function. We only want it to swap integers, and we'll be passing 2 pointers as number1 and number2. So we terminate with a semicolon, indicating that's the function header, and then we will continue with our definition right at the bottom. So what we want to do now initially, we want to create a temporary variable that will hold the value of the first number. Now because these are passed as pointers, to get their values we will need to dereference them using the asterisk. So the temp now holds the value of the first one. Now we can actually assign this value to the second, because we've already, if we don't do this step, we lose the value, the original value of 1. So it's really important to put it in temp variable first. Next, our second value will hold the value of temp. That's it. Let's see how we can call this function. So I'm going to copy the function, and over here we will say, in this case, swap the integers. But it's also important that we pass the addresses of both numbers. So number1 and the address of number2. Okay, that's about it. Now let's see what this looks like after the swap. So I'm gonna print f again, and I'll just change my message, but nothing else should change. Everything remains the same. Let's compile and execute. Now I've got a problem here. Number2 was not declared. That's because I made a typo. Go fix it here as well. And now let's try again. Okay, it's happy now. Okay, let's try with a larger number, 88 and 8. So before the swap, 88 and 8, but after the swap we can actually see that the values have swapped, which is what we want. But because we've got this condition, if the first one is larger, only then the swap happens. So if I put in 8 first and then 88, nothing's gonna change because the swap only happens if the first number is greater than the second. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the coming ones.